Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics / Non-Classics. Excuse me. This is episode number 1257, Doubleshot number 1151. I got two Green Lantern trades, though I'm doing something quite different here because the way that this particular trade is formatted, basically what issues are in here. Basically, I'm discussing Green Lantern Volume 4, Dark Days. Now, this book, I'm going to stop partway through this to discuss another trade, because this one I kind of forgot to happen. I didn't really notice this when this came out, that Green Lantern did the same thing DC was doing to the Superman books, and for Blight. Oh yeah, collecting one part of a story, actually two parts of a story, in one, having multiple trades for one crossover. I'm like, really, DC? It wasn't a good idea. Luckily enough, people at DC probably thought after a few years after this, with DC were, hey, this is stupid. Okay? If we're going to have multiple parts of a story, let's put on one trade, not 5 or 6 trades. It's so stupid. Now, Dark Days is the start of Ron Venditti's long run for the book. Oh my gosh, this run went on for 5 years. It started here and didn't end until the end of the Hal Jordan Green Lantern Corps series. And yes, I'll be discussing pretty much what's left of his run for the main Green Lantern book. Yes, I probably won't get a chance to discuss his Green Lantern Corps stuff very much. Unless, of course, it involves the crossovers, which are 3 of them. Yeah. He basically does 3 crossovers. The first one I'll discuss here. Second one I'll discuss, probably in the next video. And the one after that, I'll probably discuss it in probably the following video. Yes, for this series when discussing for Green Lantern. Now, Dark Days, the first... now, this book contains issues 21 to 26, A number 2, and the Relic one-shot. Yep. Now, this is all about Venditti. We're talking about Billy Tan, Rag Ross, and Sean Chen. I met Sean Chen, very nice person, Rag Ross. This book also contains 23.1 Relic, which I'll explain more about that in the actual crossover Lights Out. Yeah, I actually will discuss that here. I don't have it digitally on this thing here, but I do have another website I'm going to discuss it. Now, the first 3 issues, simply put, are just the starting block, basically, of this new era, where Hal Jordan is the new leader of the Green Lantern Corps. If you're curious, though, how long does this last for? This lasted for about 2 years. And the rest of the time, it's been John Stewart being in charge. And as of currently, John Stewart is still the leader of the Green Lantern Corps. Yep. In these set of issues, we see, Kyle Rayner as the White Lantern pop up in here, just to promote basically New Guardians. Now, if you're curious, though, during this period of time, we had some new status quos happening. Like in the case of Red Lanterns, we had Charles Schultz took over the book for that one. And we have Guy Gardner becoming the leader of the group after beat the crap out of Atrocitus. We had, of course, Green Lantern Corps, which Venditti basically co-wrote that with Van Jensen. And, I'm trying to think, was anything else? Of course, you had New Guardians, whatever. Yeah, basically, of Hal Jordan just not being a very good leader, basically trying to capture people and try to basically normal thing until they have debut of Relic. Yeah, which this guy basically, he shows up. Oh boy, it's the start of a crossover. But yeah, basically the Green Lanterns doing a normal thing. We also see on Earth that Hal Jordan is still trying to hook up with Carol Ferris. At one point, he forms a hand, he touches Carol Ferris' arm, and it looks like he's trying to grab her butt, but she's like, no, not interested. Then shoots up a Starfire. Now, this is something I've got before I continue. This is a big criticism I've had about this character, and I think everybody who reads Green Lantern have had this big criticism about Carol Ferris. People know that she and Hal Jordan are supposed to be together. But for some reason, I have no idea why, because at the end of Jeff Johns' run for the book, these two will apply in the future to get married. When? Don't know. But apparently, for some strange reason, I have no idea why in the world DC has still not done this yet, of having Hal Jordan marry Carol Ferris. If you're curious though, is there a version this could happen? Yes. Believe it or not, yes, a version of this has kind of happened when the actor who played Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern live-action film, Ryan Reynolds, married his co-star Blake Lively, who played Carol Ferris. That's the closest we get to Hal Jordan marrying Carol Ferris. I mean, these two have been in love with each other for years. And I keep curious though, like, why in the world can't DC get these two get married? The answer? Because they go Age of the Heroes. Maybe Future Slave probably fixed that. Who the heck knows? So, yeah, she's up briefly as well, the Star Sapphire. And just as well, and of course we have these lanterns dying. We have the Orange of course show up at Oa. Yes, they show up at Oa. And pretty much these first few issues just has them fighting, well, them. Yep. Then we have the subplot, basically, of this Star Sapphire Corps member who's basically in jail, in the science cells, where this guard of hers thinks that he might have a thing for her. And then when he releases her to become a Star Sapphire again, his reward is again stabbed in the gut. Yep. And of course, we have the Green Lantern still fighting the Orange Lanterns, and she goes off and she doesn't pop up again until after Lights Out. It's like basically she's there to set up basically the aftermath of Lights Out. Yep. We have some new trainees. And then we have them basically like trying to go after her. And of course we have some plot threats in the Up Lights Out here. And she's trying to basically go back home. Now if you're curious though, when of course then she has a brief fight with Hal Jordan. And then we have pretty much the first appearance of Relic. Yep, and here he is on this page, this gigantic being. Yes, this is Relic, and this is his first appearance. A character created by Brian Venetti, basically talking about lightsmiths. Oh boy, I'll be discussing this more when I talk about his one shot. It's quite dumb. And before I continue with this book, I've got to talk about Lights Out. And oh boy, this particular book. Now, in the case of the Relic one shot, now the one shot itself has been discussed by Linkar on his YouTube channel, on his show Atop the Fourth Wall, and how basically it just very poorly written, where it's like, oh, like basically the lightsmiths are just the backstory of basically Relic is that he's from a different universe, or apparently the lightsmiths destroyed his universe. Now, previously, oh, is this pre-New 52? No, it's just a completely different universe. Yep. Now, the Lights Out crossover. Now, the trade itself it collects is basically, I'm jumping to this now, because the thing is, 24 is the start of the Lights Out crossover, which, for some stupid reason, they threw into the actual damn book for Dark Days. Yes, they threw that in there just cuz. Yep. Yep. Now, the Lights Out trade contains 23.1, which is the Origin of Relic, 24 of Green Lantern Volume 5, the second annual, 2 issues of Green Lantern New Guardians, 23-24, Green Lantern Corps 24, and Ray Lantern 24. First thing we start off with is the apparent death. We have the death of we have Relic going after the Blue Lantern Corps. And apparently killing off all its members. Yep, all the members die except for St. Walker. He's the one who doesn't die. Yep. He also encounters with the Templar Guardians to become the Action Guardians currently. Who are kind of written how they were used to be, but not over the top like evil people. And of course we have Carol and Kyle basically fighting Relic. And then Relic... Then we have the Origin of Relic, basically followed Lightsmiths, which of course Venditti himself actually wrote this thing. Now, if you're curious though, is there any speed troubles? Nope, it's all told in text. It is like this the entire issue. There is no speech balloons. The entire book. And yeah, it's just not a very good origin story for Relic. And then we finally get to Dark Days. The Lights Out crossover. where everybody just chilling on Oa. And then then Carol shows up and kind of warns that Relic is coming. And here he is, coming to the planet, and see how big this guy is. He's freaking huge. He's the size of a skyscraper. And basically, the Lanterns see him as a bad guy, so he does something like, he tells him, like surrender your ring. He's like, no. He says, Lanterns, Cavalier. We're Green Lanterns. And surrender is not a dictionary. Really? I'll do this. Basically, send a bunch of bugs to do something shocking, to say the least. What does he do? He has these bugs destroy the Green Lantern Central Power Battery. Essentially put, he destroys Oa at the end of this issue. Yeah, he destroys Oa. The planet Oa. Yep. The planet itself was completely destroyed. With the Lantern Battery gone, basically the planet is falling apart and continues straight into Green Lantern Corps 24 with different artwork. Yep, they changed. It's not. Let's see. It's actually Bernard Chang who does issue Green Lantern Corps 24. Yeah, first start with Billy Tan's artwork. Yeah, you start with Billy Tan, and then you jump straight to a different artist, which you were like, really? Why couldn't they have the same artist all crossover? Different books. And then we have also Bernard Chang, which is actually pretty good. Like, he's actually a really good artist. So, the Lanterns try to fight him, but in the end, the whole planet is destroyed. And the planet itself remains gone for the next 6 years. 6 years. This planet is gone. It is gone. Actually, it's not 6 years. More like, I'm trying to think. I think it was 6 years because they didn't bring this planet back until toward the end of the Green Lantern series. Yeah. Of course, they were in what the new base is. So, all the Lanterns leave. And, of course, they say their farewell to Oa. And Rourke like, I've got enough energy. Time to go. And, of course, everybody sees the ruins of Oa. By the way, Oa will stay like this for quite some time. It won't be until Robin Diddy leaves Green Lantern that we finally restore Oa. Yep. So then we have the New Guardians issue, where it has basically Kyle Rayner, what he's gonna be doing this whole thing. Where he's gonna gather all the like creatures that make all the spectrums, with the exception of Parallax. Yeah, that's really interesting though. No Parallax. Parallax is not here, and also that whatever creature that powers the Black Lantern Corps, they're not here either. Yes, and I'm thinking like, okay, what the heck is Sinestro Corps up to? The answer: nothing. They don't do anything this whole crossover. You probably think, oh, this affects all the Lantern Corps, and yet it affects all but two, because the Black Lantern Corps is still very much active. You'll this actually later on as part of an actual crossover later on. So, Ember goes out to recruit allies to take on frickin' Relic. So, Hal does something completely unusual. He goes to visit the Red Lantern Corps, and this, of course, is Charles Scholl doing this. Now, the first two parts of the crossover, Rob Venditti does. Though he co-writes the second part with Ben Jensen, his co-writer for Red Lantern Corps. For part 3, it's Justin Gray. This is Charles Scholl. One of actually 2 times his book actually crossed over as part of a Green Lantern story. Well, when he was writing anyways, because it did also cross over with the Third Army and the Wrath of First Lantern stuff. So yeah, not the first time. And things starts out pretty much like a standard, like a regular thing, like, oh, let's open up seeing Guy Gardner chatting with Bleez. Oh yeah, and by the way, show Bleez from the back, show off her nice butt. Because Bleez is hot. So, basically they chat for a while. Oh, by the way, later on after this crossover happened, Guy Gardner grows facial hair. Yep. So, they show how much Bleez is angry. And like, he has a really interesting question. Like, does this place have a bar? We have a lounge. Yep, and of course they chillax for a while. Various members. It seems like a standard day, and then the Green Lantern Corps shows up, and then we see Atrocitus basically in deep space with Daxstar. Yes, a Red Lantern who's a talking cat. No joke, he's a talking cat. He's still around, by the way. Not Atrocitus still occasionally pops up. That was most recent appearance after Red Lantern was wrapped up. Was actually at the start of Green Lanterns, the series by Sam Humphries. And after that, nothing was done with Red Lanterns afterwards. They just basically planted a seed that was never fully developed. And then we have a brief fight between Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan. Probably something building for some time. And pretty much he's here because they mentioned about the whole thing about Relic. Like, who the heck is Relic? And they pretty much told the whole thing basically what Relic told them. So they team up to take on Relic. And where is Relic this period of time? Well, he's at the frickin' Source Wall. Yep, he's at the Source Wall. This thing that was created by Jack Kirby back in the 70s. That was part of New God stuff. By the way, this would not be followed up with the Source Wall stuff until the events of Godhead, which doesn't come until later. Yep. And pretty much he's here. He's using his machine to dig in the Source Wall to look for his reservoir. Yep. And then we have, well, the finale for this crossover in action, Green Lantern A number 2. Where they pretty much go out and just go after, well, Relic. And apparently he finds it. He finds what he's looking for. And then all the emotional, the creatures make this emotional spectrum, go inside the reservoir, and then we have the Indigo Tribe basically dealing with the team up with the rookies, deal with whatever. They have a big brawl between the Red Lanterns and the Green Lantern to take on Relic, which ends with the Relic, he finds what he's looking for, and then he gets crashed into the Source Wall, and then he becomes trapped in the Source Wall, becoming the second ever character in DC Comics to get trapped inside the Source Wall. Oh yeah, and he stays there until Godhead. Yep, he stays there until Godhead. Basically, he stays trapped there for a long period of time. He doesn't die. He just gets trapped there. And then, of course, they deal with the after effects of this crossover, where, oh yeah, the new headquarters is Mogo. Yep, the Green Lantern Corps is now sub Mogo. And they try to send the Green Lantern oath, and they feel like can't represent anymore because it's stuff related to this crossover. And then we have, well, Kyle Rayner come back out of each chapter to the Source Wall, and he doesn't remember anything what happened on the other side of it. Well, the whole thing with this actually sets up what happens in the, well, New Guardians book that pretty much will complete the entire series. Yep. Now, Lights Out crossover was interesting at best. It's a good action-packed story. But I only recommend it as something you can read. You can basically skip over. If you read this particular trade, Dark Days. Oh, by the way, I give Lights Out a 9 out of 10. It's a damn good story. It's well-paced. It basically had good build to it. Though, not very big build, mind you. Oh, no. It seems like Venditti did this in just a few months after the start of his run for the actual Green Lantern Corps. So, what does they do in the aftermath? Well, they deal with a plot thread they left hanging at the end of issue 23. Well, first they deal with basically set up a new home in the Green Lantern Corps. They got a new power, but wait, how the heck this happened? Well, they used up the Citadel stuff in the Green Lantern Corps book, which Hal Jordan has written so terribly. Punch him because basically his girlfriend's being insulted. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Hal, I didn't mean to punch you. Despite the fact Hal really didn't be punched anyways. So, then Hal basically... And then basically, we had to basically take that every single person's got a ring. Apparently that's a policy now for some strange reason. So we have Carol Ferris flipping the bird. I guess which finger I'm holding up. Yeah, he's like, you want Hal? You want Hal? You'll have one contract unauthorized ring wearer. Why do I get the feeling anyone who isn't decked out in green? The Carl sacrificed himself to really did anything refill the reservoir. Give us a second chance, things better. Exactly, give us a second chance, all of us. And since there isn't any White Lantern like him, this is her last chance. Yep. So she just keeps the ring and basically goes home. Yep. Oh, by the way, if you wonder what she does next, you have to read New Guardians. Because that's what she appears. Because apparently toward the end of the book, apparently she felt an attraction to Kyle Rayner, despite the fact she never felt feelings for him before. And this relationship was very short-lived. Because as soon as that book ended, the relationship was completely forgotten about, and apparently they broke up off-panel. Yep. So yeah. Thank you, Justin Gray, for setting up a potential relationship that went nowhere. Yep, so Hal and Kilowog look for the Star Sapphire who escaped back in issue 23. And they spend the next couple issues fighting her and her people. And then they call for backup. And then, of course, the Mogo shows up, basically threatening the planet. And then she surrenders. Yep, she surrenders. And at the end of it, we have set up for the next crossover. We have set up for the dirt with the stuff with the Duralans. Yep. Let's input what this is set up for. Yep. Now, for the start of Venditti's run, it's interesting how he starts off the run. Yeah, he starts the run good and strong, but he has a good start to the run, but it seems like right after Lights Out, it seems like, though, like, okay, let's just start basically sort of the downward spiral of the Green Lantern book. Start of a time that, from what I've heard, and from what I remember, this was not a very popular time. It seems like, though, right after Lights Out, basically the book became barely recognizable as Green Lantern because Hal Jordan was acting so out of character. And Venditti just pushed on forward despite the criticism of the book. I mean, I at least got to admit, Venditti had a good start for this run, but it was kind of strange, basically. This was coming out the awesomeness that was the Jeff Johns run. Yep. But as for the two trades as a whole, like, Lights Out I give 9 out of 10 because that's a damn good story. Dark Days itself, I'm going to give that also a 9 out of 10. But I would give it 9.5 if, in fact, they decided not to include issue 24 and the annual and the Relic one-shot. I think those three should have been just kept in the Lights Out trade. Yes. You could easily just had 21-23 and then 25-26 and just have basically of 23 like, okay, if you want to find out next, read the Lights Out trade. That's what I would have done. But no, we had to do this bullcrap nonsense. Have 2 parts of a 5-part story. Why in the world they decided to do this for, I have no idea. It's by far one of the dumbest ideas I have ever seen DC Comics do. And they've taken a lot of flack over this over the years. So that's the reason why, like, a lot of trades that are part of crossovers, they're usually kept in one trade, not 5 or 6 trades to collect one major crossover. Because that's an absolute stupid idea. DC learned a lesson since then, and they've never done it since then, because even they realized, though, yeah, this was stupid. If we're going to have this whole story in here, we got to at least put it in one trade, not 5 or 6 trades. Yep. So yeah, not much else to say about these 2 trades. So yeah, that's it for Sick Love You. Stay tuned for our reviews for Two Love Rue and possibly more Comic Corners today. Probably discussing more Green Lantern stuff, okay? Just next video. Bye.